Hey guys, and welcome. In this video we are going to practice a mobility flow that aims to get the splits. So without further ado, let's dive into the practice itself. So we are going to start from dynamic stretches and active stretches, and from there we are going to do some passive stretches. The reason I want to focus on active stretches is that I want to have the strength at the end range of motion, and not only that, when I'm contracting my muscles and in the end range of motion, it's also giving me extra length of the muscles, because when you're contracting the muscle when they are the most stretched, then you create some more range, some more mobility and flexibility in the muscle. So we're going to start from cossack squats, and we're going to shift from one side to another. So I'm starting here, and then I'm shifting to the bent leg and bending the other leg. So we're going to do a nice movement from side to side, just to get our joints to warm up and bring some blood to the muscles. And now we are going to do the motion to the other side. So again, I'm bending here in a very high cossack squat, and from here I'm rotating towards the straight leg and bending it. Rotating towards the straight leg and bending it. You can place your arms onto the knees and feel the shifts of the weight. And let's move from side to side without the rotations. And some lunges. Pay attention that my front leg is rotated inwards. This way I get the stability, and also I'm placing the hip joint in the right form. Here I want you to APT and PPT. So from here, internal and posterior rotation, I want to get in with my hips, posteriorly rotated inwards and to the other side. So I want the control here because it's stretching my hip flexors. So here I'm getting into the lunge position, and from here I'm rotating my hips and to the other side and to the other side. I just want a small rotation to get to my end range of motion, and I'm shifting to the other side of the lunge. The reason I want to focus on many muscles and not just the hip adductors to open the splits is that I want my muscles to be equally stretched out when I'm practicing the splits. Many people are stretching only the muscles that opens the legs, and then some muscles getting very, very flexible and the other muscles stay tight. I want the muscles to be stretched out in the same manner, in the same level. So again, I'm rotating to a lunge and getting the APT, PPT game. Now I want to also straighten my knee. So as I'm rotating my hip, I'm straightening my knee. Again, rotating my hip and then straightening my knee. The back knee of the straight leg, and here I'm doing it again. You'll feel a nice stretch in the hip flexors when you do that. So rotating my hip and then straightening my knee. So this control over the PPT and APT is very crucial to getting the mobility in the hips, because you can compensate with the lower back when the hip flexors should be stretched. So this control gives you the control over which muscles you are stretching, and optimally you want to stretch the hip flexors and the muscles that are around the hip joint. So from here I'm gonna get to a low lunge, a low cossack squat, and shift to the other side. As you see, all those movements, all those stretches are active stretches. The reason is I want always to be able to be active in the end range of motion. So let's sway from one side to another and get to the maximum range of motion at this exercise, at the cossack squat. You can hold your hands up when you do that to have some more stability in the pose. Try to keep your back straight. So I don't want to bend like this. I want to be straight with my back and maybe use my hands to leverage myself to be stable, or I can place my arms on my legs and move them dynamically as I move. So I'm not placing my weight with my hands onto my legs. I'm not holding onto the legs. I'm just brushing my legs and keeping my hands onto my legs. And let's get down. Basically what we do here, you can use the hand of the straight leg. I'm getting as low as I can, and then I'm using the hand to shift my weight onto the ground, and then I'm internally rotating my knee onto the ground. Again, if you want to see it from another angle, placing my arm, then pushing, and then shifting back. Try to not overstress your legs when you get to the end range of motion. Use your hands. You can even tilt a little bit more with your chest just to reach with your hands. But when you get to the end range of motion, don't try to pass it. It will happen naturally. You will expand your ranges of motion. Now do what you can and try not to overstress your legs. So we are getting down, bringing our knee to the ground and getting back. Again, it's warming your body, getting the synovial liquid to your joints and getting you stronger at the end range of motion. Ranges that we lost because of the sedentary lifestyle. From here, I'm getting down, rotating my knee onto the ground and then getting onto the leg, on the bended leg. And from here, with a straight back, I'm trying to touch with my chin to my leg. You are not going to make it probably if you are a beginner, but you want to aim always to touch with your chest or with your chin to your leg and keeping the back straight. And from here, I'm getting back in the same manner and transitioning to the other leg, rotating my leg onto the cuff. From here, I'm getting onto the bended leg and trying to do that, bending over with a straight back instead of doing that and bending my back. I want to bend from here to make the stretch from the leg. Shift to the other side. Try to bend straight with a straight back. Shifting on to the other side again. You can get slow. Inhale on the way up. Exhale on the way down. All the way to the pistol sit. And on the way up, you inhale. Exhale on the way down. You exhaling all the way to the pistol sit. Inhale on the way up. From here, I want to engage also my quads and the hip flexors. So I'm going to get to the same position. And from here, I'm gonna bend back. So I can stay here, or I can bring the other leg, the other foot, the foot of the straight leg to the bended knee. So again, from here, I'm shifting into a Cossack squat, transitioning to the ground, rotating the knee onto the ground, and pay attention that I'm not putting my weight onto the rotating leg. And from here, bringing the straight leg to the knee, the foot of the straight leg to the knee, and from here, bending back. Make few adjustments if you need the foot to be closer to your glutes, because this is how you do the stretch in the most efficient manner and in the best way. So from here, again, I want the PPT. I don't want to APT to internally rotate my hips. I want to externally rotate my hips. So basically, you want to think about seeing your butt. You want to rotate your hips onto the point that you're seeing your butt. It's never gonna happen, hopefully, but this is what you want to imagine to understand the motion in your mind. And I'm getting back in the same manner, straightening the straight leg in the Cossack squat and rotating the leg into the position of a Cossack squat and transitioning to the other side. Make the adjustments you need in order to bring your foot to the glutes. Rotate your hip and take 3 breaths here. And let's transition to the other side. Again, I'm doing that for the splits, but I want to engage all the muscles in the hip area to get the benefit, the full benefit of the mobility, and not just getting the splits and forgetting about all the muscles in the joint. And to the other side. Rotate your hips to PPT. You'll feel a nice stretch at the leg. And then now I want you to get into your maximum split and get your butt back. So I want you to do those pivots when you rotate your hips and leaning with your chest forward. So I'm finding here the range of motion that my hips are allowing me to move. And again, I'm doing it in an active way, so I'm pushing with my legs against the floor. You can put your arms onto the ground and do the same motion. Let's do another 5 of those. And let's shift to the front split, active front split. So the idea here is that you want to stay active. The back leg should be straight, so you always want to think about straightening the knee. And here you also want to think about the PPT, posterior pelvic tilt. You always want to rotate your hips and square your hips. So think about standing on the line and then taking one leg forward and one leg backward. Here you want to stay squared and not rotating your hips like this, because when you're rotating your hips, you're getting out of the form and you're not getting the full benefit of the stretch. You may have wider split, but it's not giving you the right form of the body and the right stretch. So here I will always want to stay straight and square and get down as much as I can to be in the end range of motion, rotate my hips to PPT and straightening my back knee. Let's move to the other side. Do the same thing. Rotate your hips to PPT, posterior rotation. I want to see my butt as I told you before, and I'm trying to straighten my knee. Okay, good. Let's get back into the active middle split. Again, I'm doing those pivots back and forth. You can do them as well with the hands on the ground, moving backward and forward, finding the range at the hips. And let's shift to the front split. Here I can be in a bit advanced position, and again I'm trying to rotate my hips posteriorly and straighten my back knee. Try to be here 10 breaths, and then we'll switch to the other side. If your maximum position is being here, if you feel the stretch in the hip flexors, you are able to square your hips here. Be in this position, don't get lower than that. Be in the maximum position and always do a little more, but not more that you are capable of. 10 breaths here. Pay attention that I'm also balancing in this position, so it's an active stretch that I'm also working on my balance. It works on so many levels, so it's not only a stretching routine. Again, set number 3 of the splits, of the front splits. Again, we are going back and forth. Here you want to have the interior pelvic tilt, to rotate your hips in a way that your belly is parallel to the ground. And here you want to move back and forth, finding the range of motion, finding some space in the hips. Ten breaths, and let's move to the front splits. Now I'm holding a more of a passive and active stretch, so I'm not giving the full compression of the weight on my legs. I'm leaving some to my hands. Again, I'm thinking about PPT, rotating my hips and straightening the back leg. You can use yoga blocks or use some podiums that you have available in or a chair that you can use, and leave some weight also onto one of those objects. Ten breaths on the other side. And let's shake a little bit our legs to get some rest. Take a few breaths, and we have another 3 sets to go. Now, if it's easy for you, you can also, from the middle split, transition to the ground using your hands. So you shifting your weight a little bit forward, placing your hands between your legs and bringing yourself down, getting up in the same manner. You can use your hands or you can do it without your hands. If you already have some range of motion, if not, you can use a stairs, sit on the stairs and get up and down. It's a nice movement, and it's a progression of those pivots we do when we are here. So again, we are doing 10 of those, and then we are moving to the front splits. And front splits. Here we also can push against the ground, so and to the other side. 10 reps, and we take a small break. Shake your head, shake your legs, take a breath. Inhale, exhale. And we get to the next 2 sets to a passive stretch. So let's sit in a front split and then just rotate onto one side and to the other, to the middle. Do it always when you rotate to the front, to the middle. Do it with a straight back. Don't hunch your back here. Keep your back straight. You want the stretch to come from your hamstring and not from your back. Again, to one side, to the other, and to the middle. Left, right, middle. So in the last 2 sets of the passive stretch, I want to stretch passively, but you will see in a moment that it's not so passive as it's called. So here I want to remember to keep my hips squared. I don't want to open my hips this way. I don't want to have this rotation towards the middle split. I want to keep it here when my leg is exactly in front of me, and I want to again keep the PPT as if I want to look at my butt from here. So from here, I want to rotate my hips and keep it for 10 seconds. So, and then I want to rotate my hips internally. So I want to take my butt out and stretch my hamstrings. So as you see, it's a play of APT and PPT, and understanding those postures will help you to develop the splits much faster, because you won't compensate with other parts of the body like the back or other parts for the mobility in the hips area. So here again, I'm rotating my hips to interior pelvic tilt, and I'm getting this, you should feel this hamstring stretch, and I'm getting down as much as I can do it with a straight back. So I don't want to bend my back because I can get much lower. I want to keep my back straight and feel the stretch from the hamstring. Again, I'm rotating my hip posteriorly, and I can also push with the knee towards the other leg. So I try to close the gap between my legs. And this way, you also activate the muscles, the hip flexors at the end range of motion, and this gives you much more range at the end. Let's switch sides and do the same thing again here. So I'm rotating my hips posteriorly, and I'm counting to 10. You can also count the breaths. This is something I like more than just counting numbers. And interior pelvic tilt, and I'm leaning towards the straight leg. You should feel here the hamstrings stretches. Do that as much as you can without feeling any pain. Think about the health and longevity of the body. Another 10 seconds here, and we can move to the middle split. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. So thank you for joining me to this mobility session. This is truly an amazing practice that I love to do, and I do it almost every day because my mobility is basically behind my strength. So I'm trying to balance my body. So I'm trying to balance the strength, mobility, balance, and all those movement components, all those fitness components, and make them in the same level with each other. So I don't want one of them to be more than the other, because this is damaging my freedom of motion. So for example, if I would be much stronger than I'm mobile, many movements will be impossible for me because I have the strength but I don't have the mobility. And this is what creates the freedom of motion, the ability to be strong, flexible, mobile, and all those components. When they are mixed together and when they are in the same level, you are basically able to get those results. Now, if you want the full program when I'm explaining everything about movement and how to develop your freedom of motion, you are invited to get to my website. In there you have the movement manual and different packages where I give you all the knowledge you need. If it's aerials, if it's mobility, if it's handstand, if it's special movements, if it's movement manual advanced, where I teach all the nuances and all the advanced movements, soft acrobatics that I do. You are invited to try it, and thank you for your time. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you soon. So subscribe to the channel and give it a thumbs up, because it helps the channel a lot, and I'm going to upload to this channel more videos like that. to enable you to increase your freedom and see what I'm doing so you can do the same and get my results. So thank you for watching, and I see you on the next video.